If you could do college over, what would you do different? Get to know my professors more. My husband got to know his professor, who then helped him get an internship at the UN, which then helped him get a kick-ass job in the States. They are amazing resources and generally want to help their students. Yes, most of us do. Office hours exist so students can have one-on-one time with faculty. So faculty can clarify lecture points that students are confused over, explain concepts, go over papers, etc. And getting to know students on a more personal basis is usually a benefit for the faculty as well as the students. I probably abused office hours as a student. I couldn't understand why others never went. So often I would make an honest attempt at doing my homework, get 70% done, but not know how to do everything. Then I would take my partially complete homework into office hours and get help from the professor on the problems I didn't know how to do. 4 things happened for me. A. I learned the concepts I didn't know. B. I just got the correct answer on my homework without using a solution manual. C. My professor now knows who I am and know I tried in his class. This comes in handy when you end up with a 89. D. I got my homework done faster than had I done it by myself and now have free time. I would love to utilize office hours, but I just don't really have any questions for the professors. They assign the work and I do it. If I have questions, I use Google. It feels like going to their office without a question is a waste of time for all parties involved. Any suggestions on how to develop that relationship otherwise? Learn how to study properly. Join a study group and ask for help when I needed it instead of trying to trudge through alone. If I've learned anything in life, it's that asking for help is one of the smartest things you can do. Take more advantage of the really amazing lectures and seminars my school offered. I definitely applied myself to classes, but there was so much extracurricular academic content I could have taken advantage of. I tell my students this all the time, not that many of them pay attention, but they can go here, see national and even world-class speakers and cultural acts for free or very low cost, if they just would. Once they get out of college, accessing that kind of opportunity is much harder and more expensive. Here it's all right there waiting for them, but they won't do it unless I offer extra credit for specific events that are tangentially related to our subject. Even then, only a few grudging folks show up, although the ones who do come often feel inspired and fascinated afterwards. I'd actually spend my time focusing on school. A. The grass is always greener. For every I wish I focus more on school comment here, there's a I wish I socialized more comment to balance it out. I don't think we give our past selves enough credit. There are reasons we do the things we do, even if it's not the optimal decision in hindsight. I really wish I had been more outgoing, but I can't honestly say that I wouldn't be in the other camp right now if I had been. Yeah, I studied my ass off in college, now living that sweet post-grad life with no friends. People with average grades and a great social life got the same job I did, and they're doing better at that too because they are good at networking. Biology lab was at 7:30 am. That was too early in the morning to be smelling formaldehyde and dissecting frogs. In hindsight, I would have signed up for biology lab later in the day, even though the time conflicted with other activities I was interested in. I think early morning classes are the hardest to follow through with. I had a 7 am class one winter semester. That winter ended up being one of the coldest I've ever experienced. It was so hard to get up and leave for class in 20F that early in the morning. Get out of my comfort zone. Go out and make more friends. Go to all the stuff that I was invited to even if I didn't know anyone too well. Hang out with different groups of people. Just overall be more outgoing and open to new experiences. I became that in grad school, and it made a world of difference. Also working out. It's hard making up those lost years when you are older. Much easier to lose weight and get fit at ages 18, 22. I second the getting fit part at 18 to 22. I started my weight loss when I was 25 to 26 would have been much easier if I started at 18. You lose 100 pounds and you will become an entirely new person. You lose 100 pounds and you will become an entirely new person. Because you've lost an entire person. You're two people now. It will sound cheesy, but be myself. Tried so hard to recreate myself in college and view it as a fresh start. Would have been much more enjoyable if I didn't try so hard to be someone else and just had fun. Ed did a lot of our creating in college. I even went so far as to change my first name. I think I did it because I was never really happy with who I was. I was a long way from home at college, and I saw it as a chance to make a break from my old self and move on. Did it work? To an extent. I still use the different first name. I did the same thing in high school. I went from being a stickler about my name to using an easier to pronounce version and becoming an easier going person in total. I had an image of myself and another image of this other person who I wanted to be, and they used an easier name. It was easier to be that other person when I started using the name. It was easier to be that person when all my teachers used that name. It was easier still in college when no one used my old name at all. I'm the person I wanted to be, and I almost never want to be anyone else, because not wanting to be anyone else is part of who I am. Sounds circular, but it works for me. Sometimes people will call me by my full name, but it's just words when it comes from others. It's not what I call myself, and that's what matters. Honestly, just do the work and get to know your professors a bit. There's no secret. Looking back, the students who truly excelled weren't all geniuses or anything. They just consistently showed up, did their work, and socialized enough with the professors to be likable and memorable. As it turns out, this formula also leads to success in your career post-university. People that partied wish they studied, and people that studied wish they partied. People that did both wish they networked more with professors. People that did all three don't comment and are too busy being successful at life. Take advantage of the non-academic opportunities that presented themselves. All the professors who said, "Don't be a stranger," whom I then ignored. All the contacts I let atrophy, contacts that would have been useful early in my career. All the things I skipped because I had to study. Grades are important, and you should definitely study. But the difference between a 3.7 and a 3.8 is negligible compared to the effort it takes. And the grades only get your foot in the door. Your connections are what matter. I'd go to it instead of deciding to wait a decade. Wish me luck in a few months' time. Good luck. Make sure you major in something you actually like. Going into the trades. I don't like it, but I have no problem with it. And right now my alternative is another 10 years of call centers. And I'm pretty sure I'd rather put my nuts to a cheese grater before that happens. I wouldn't have dragged my relationship from high school into my college years. Not only because it eventually didn't work out, but because it put so many restrictions on my time and activities. I met an exchange student one of the first days of uni and was with her pretty much every day for the rest of the semester. When she went back home, together with all her exchange student friends, I had 2 years left of uni and wasn't really friends with anyone. Definitely this. My first semester of college, all of my friends were exchange students. Super fun semester. Then suddenly everyone went home, and I realized that I didn't know anyone who actually went to the university. Basically had to start over again socially. Get into the habit of treating it like a full-time job. If I'd consistently dedicated 9 AM 5 PM Monday through Friday to going to class and studying, doing homework, I would have ended up studying way more than I did, plus I would have had more time for guilt-free socializing, partying, and miscellaneous unproductive putzing around. Eat healthier. First year, I literally never set foot in the half of the dining hall where the salad bar and fresh veggies were located, and instead stuffed my face with all the junky fried cheesy shit and always hit the soft serve machine on my way out. After I moved off campus, I lived off of boxed mac cheese, Campbell's chunky soup, tuna salad, egg salad, hamburger helper, and Cheez-Its. I gained about 40 pounds in college. I would take the challenge and go into finance or accounting for my business admin degree. I did marketing because I thought it was easier, wanted to do marketing. I ended up in actuarial data processing as a business analyst, and the finance or accounting degree would have been more relevant. And now that I'm taking classes for my MBA, those classes would have been a big help. Take it more seriously and maybe choose a different major. I wasted 2 years barely passing engineering school and losing all of my scholarships before switching to computer science, and I couldn't be happier now. But holy shit, if my bank account isn't ducked, I would have networked like crazy. I'm a pretty introverted person and I always hated trying to schmoz with people. And I always told myself, well, if I have good grades and a good resume, then it won't matter who I know for getting a job. I was wrong. So I'd get to know professors, do internships that would open up more doors, join student organizations, etc. I'll add my similar, but slightly flipped point of view on that. I was exactly the same in college. Major social anxiety, hated the idea of networking, etc. Got a job after college and had the same attitude. I wasn't unfriendly and I worked hard, but I hated the idea of sucking up and was super awkward in most purely social situations. And after 4 years working there, I realized I had actually made friends and had bosses willing to recommend me and even willing to hire me on at new companies. I'd been networking without even realizing it. It was a bit of a viewpoint shift for me. Networking doesn't have to be this leech-like sucking up to people thinking it may serve you in future. It can also just be doing your job and being friendly and engaged. You don't have to be the life of the party. Most people are pretty happy with reasonably pleasant and competent. I read a comment the other day and this guy said that's what networking actually means. Just maintaining long-lasting relations with people you actually like. Not sucking up to any asshole that could mean something in the future. Not go to a private school for something I can learn far cheaper at a non-private college. Loans from private schools are absurd. They of course don't teach you about student loans when you're in high school, at least mine didn't. I was young and naive and went there because it was appealing. A friend and I were in college about the same time. He went to a big name private school. I went to a no-name public college. About 15 years ago we were working together doing the same help desk job, making about the same money. I paid off my student loans about 5 years early. He had to take an extension. Sure, I didn't have the big name on my diploma, but it didn't make a difference. Ask more people out on dates or even just to hook up. I was very studious and worked a job at the same time. Now several years out I realize I'm attractive to the opposite sex. I think your experience is fairly common. Guys tend to do better with women as they get older because they are more confident, more mature and more established in their careers and whatnot. Very, very true. Most high school guys are unappealing to high school girls. Most college guys are unappealing to college girls. Girls always want to date up in terms of someone age-wise, income-wise, and life stage-wise. It isn't a materialism thing, though. They are just seeking attractive traits. It does put young guys at a disadvantage. I was much more popular with women when I entered my mid-20s, with an established career, than when I was in my late teens and early 20s. Go to a community college for 2 years then transfer into a 4-year university. Doing it this way has absolutely no effect on your bachelor's degree and saves you thousands of dollars. I wish more people knew this. I think people are afraid to do this. I did this. It is a great way to save a lot of money, but there are a few things, both good and bad, that I have learned as well. I aced all of my classes at CC and made sure that they aligned with what was required for the core curriculum at the school I transferred to. That way, I could take advantage of the advanced courses that the private school I transferred to offered. With a high GPA and the majority of what is required out of the way, I ended up getting a substantial financial package from the school. It ended up paying for about 95% of the normally $70,000 per year it costs to go there. The one thing I have learned is that when the CC pushes an associate's degree, politely decline and transfer unmatriculated. Many companies have filters in place to remove those with an AS or AA from the candidate pool when considering applicants. Take a double major so I don't have to pay for a bunch electives that didn't help me even a little in my career. Get tested for ADHD. I would have done far and away better if I had the right tools at my disposal. I'd actually go to college and actively participate in it. I would engage in the classes and pursue something that I was actually interested in and passionate about, not just something that I could do easily and get a degree from. I commuted and half-assed my way through every single class for 4 years, doing the absolutely bare minimum to get by. Never joined a club, never stayed 1 minute after class, never talked to the professors or my classmates unless required. I graduated on time, but what I didn't get was any connections, positive memories, experiences, or time spent learning anything that I actually enjoy or care about. Now that I've been out of college for 3 years, I'm realizing how cool and fun it could have been. But I just hated the idea of it all when I was coming out of high school and actually going to my college classes. I really wasn't ready to be there. Would have waited a year or 2 before starting. I think that would have helped me mature and adjust more to a totally new setting. I was always a straight A student in high school and graduated in the top 10. And I didn't realize that not all of life is about grades. My first year was full of psychosis, a suicide attempt, and ducking around with people I can barely remember now, and a lot of poor coping mechanisms for dealing with failure and grief. I got myself together after that, but I wish I had waited until I was in a better space mentally and emotionally to start college. Also, even though I really like my career in social work, though I did a double major in anthro-religious studies, when I got my bachelor's degree I would probably pick a math-based major. Even now, I still just kind of want to be a math teacher. Go to school throughout the summer and graduate faster. Get treated for anxiety panic attacks sooner. It messed up my grades so bad. It was to the point I was afraid to leave my room. I wouldn't have signed up for a credit card at 18. I wouldn't have been so scared about what other people thought of me. I would have taken that class that interested me, even though it was early in the morning. Not major in communications. My college experience was nearly a decade long. First mistake going to a state university straight out of HS. I should have gone straight to community college. I wound up going to one eventually. The credits are cheaper, and the professors could actually teach. Second mistake, picked the wrong degree track. At the time my hobby was film editing. I did a bunch of anime music videos, and dreamed of a career with TV. But it was only ever a hobby. I chose to get my A as a result. But my strengths were in math and science. I should have obtained an A.S. Third mistake, squandering away my scholarship. There were classes I tried to take and should have withdrawn from, but my laziness and stubbornness ultimately led to bad grades. college is not like HS. And I had to learn that the hard way. Ultimately I did get a bachelor's in electrical engineering. I graduated summa cum laude with a GPA of 3.8 and change. I have 20,000 in student loans I still have to pay off. But all of these bad choices led me to a life with my wife and kids. I met her while I was on this crazy journey to find myself. I'm glad I made them. If 20,000 was the cost to be with my wife, then I made out like a bandit. Give more of an effort to get laid. I passed up so many opportunities by just not trying hard enough. One time a girl said we should have sex, but then we sort of laughed it off, and I never followed up. I ducked up bad. I wish I could go back. I would have participated in more extracurricular activities. At the time, I didn't appreciate how little time and opportunity I would have to explore new interests as a working adult.